if I'm humble enough to listen, I'm going to find amazing answers in places I never would have expected. Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. And welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and I want to talk to you about success. And so I get asked that a lot, like, what makes you successful? What makes people successful? I get asked, I got this podcast that's been running for a long time. I talk to a lot of successful people, like what makes these people successful when I'm struggling, or I want to see that level of success. First of all, don't measure yourself to other people, right? You got to figure out what defines you and what defines success for you. Success is different for everybody. Look, there's a lot of successful people in certain aspects of their life. Is that what you want, right? Do you want to be the billionaire that's a billionaire but has terrible health, has no friends, all that kind of stuff, or do you want the whole thing? For me, success is having the whole thing, right? For me, success, and I'm more successful in certain aspects of my life and others, and I go through struggles at various times in all aspects of my life, and they don't necessarily come at the same time. Sometimes they do when it all really piles on hard, but you got to define what success means to you. Look, recently there's a guy that passed away in the Twin Cities, and he was a curmudgeon. Yeah, people didn't like him. He didn't create a lot of friends. He was kind of part of that good old boys club, but I feel like he maybe burned a lot of bridges. And from what I hear, like nobody showed up to his funeral. Like it just people didn't like him. People were cordial to him because they knew they were gonna, if they could be nice to him and could pretend like they were his friend, they would get things right. And he owned a lot of properties, He ended up passing away, and by the time he passed away, most of his properties were underwater, and they're now selling off for deep discounts. They're just it's just a sad story. Now, you could have looked at him and said, man, that guy was so successful. And he did really well. But in my opinion, maybe he was successful in business, and you could even argue against that, but maybe he was successful in business. But if nobody shows up to your funeral, to me, that means you're definitely weren't successful. For me, success is I want to be successful in all aspects of my life. I want to be successful in my health, with my fitness and my eating. And I want to be successful with my family, with my wife, with my kids, with my parents, with my brothers and sisters. I want to be successful with friends. I want people to know, like, and trust me, right? And I want to be successful with my faith, right? I want to make sure that for me, God is number one, and I want to make sure that I'm actually showing up and doing that thing, and doing that. And I want to make sure I'm successful too in the community, right? I want to make sure I'm giving back. I want to make sure I'm doing the right things there. And then last, I want to make sure I'm successful in business, of course. And so there's a lot that comes to it for me, and it's not just one thing. But what do I see that creates successful people that other people are maybe missing? And it's not necessarily that these people are bad, but they're missing some things, right? And so one of the biggest things, and probably the biggest thing, not even probably, it just is, right? It's just your mindset of positivity, your mindset of being able to do things, your mindset of the possibility of being able to be great in what you do and everything that you do. And I think that is just so paramount in it. And so, look, we're surrounded in this world by so much negativity. And I mean, turn on the news stations, right? Turn on Fox News and listen to Fox News, or actually don't. I mean, this is terrible advice, but listen to Fox News for an hour, and then go listen to CNN for an hour, and you'll hate the world, right? Because every problem, when you listen to CNN, every single problem in the world is because of Donald Trump and what he's done, and the Republicans and the specific side of the aisle that they don't agree with. Where you listen to Fox, and it's the exact opposite. Every single problem that we have in the world is because of Biden and Harris and all that side of the aisle. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense, right? You can't have both. And here's the thing, it's neither of their problems. It's your problem. It's simply your problem. You create your own destiny. You create your own outcomes. And certainly things in this world affect them. So I don't want to tell you to just to bury your head in the sand and never go out and vote and don't be a part of the community. That's not what I'm saying here, but it is true that you create your own happiness, you create your own success, you create your own failures, you create your own attitudes, right? You create your own confidence or lack thereof. And all these all these other things that are surrounding you and trying to influence you are just trying to capture your attention. And it's just, as a Christian you'd say, it's the devil at work, right? um and so it's so important that you tune out all the negativity. There's going to be negative people that are in your life that you don't want to cut out of your life. There's going to be negative people in your life that you say, I need to cut them out of my life. But regardless, you have to decide how you're going to show up. And I can promise you this, if you show up with the attitude, the positive attitude, with the attitude of, I can solve the problems that are in front of me, that the people that are around you are going to start to feel that, especially if you're just unwavering about it. When they're complaining about something, if you're like, no, we got this, we can do it, here's what are the solutions, right? Start asking them the questions like, what are the solutions, how can we do this? Oh, there's nothing we can do. Well, I think there is. How about if we look at it this way, would that help? Well, would this help? Like if you just start being super positive around those who are maybe a little bit more negative, you're going to start to see bigger and better results with not only with what you're doing, but with them as well. And now some people are just maybe so bad that there's nothing you can do. Well, those are probably people you maybe have to cut out of your life, or at least limit the exposure into your life, because they're never going to grab it. And I think that's very rare. I really do. I think that most people, look, there's a reason that the news is so negative. The news is so negative because that's what draws people in. So we're going to be drawn into the negative. So you have to be a force out there that's just, it's not unwavering. It's not going to be like that. And I strive to be that. I'm not that all the time, and certainly many too often I'm not. But you have to decide which way you're going to show up. And when you start showing up to say, hey, look, I'm not saying go out there and don't think there's problems. Like, I'm not saying that you have to go, oh, everything's perfect in the world. This isn't bunnies and rainbows. This is reality. Like, there's problems. There's a lot of problems. That's fine. Like, your business, you're going to get thrashed, right? You're going to get, there's going to be plenty of problems. So it's not bunnies and rainbows and fairies, right? But it is problems that have solutions. And so it's your attitude that creates the outcomes. And if you have a problem in your business and you're like, oh, woe is me, it's everybody else's fault. How did this happen? I can't believe it. Oh, I shouldn't have listened to him or her. And oh man, I hired the wrong person and blah, blah, blah. What are you going to do about it? Because you complaining about it's not going to create any outcome other than the same outcome you're getting, right? And so what are you going to do about it? How you got to think about it in that kind of aspect, and how can I move forward and push on and continue to get better? So that is, in my opinion, the number one thing. What's your attitude? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it crapping on everything? Or is it saying, we got this, we're going to get better, but we have to figure out what's going on right now, what's wrong, and what are the steps that we can take to get to the outcomes that we want to get to, that we need to get to, right? And one of the things that I try to do is be grateful for everything that's happening in my life. And that can be challenging sometimes because, man, there's some really challenging things that are going on or that have gone on, right? And so that can be challenging. But again, I'm a big prayer person, so I take my dog for a walk every single morning. And one of the things that I do when I'm out for a walk is I pray. And a big part of my prayer is just gratitude. And it's being grateful for the things. And so when I have something that's going wrong, I'm still saying, look, God, I'm grateful for the challenges that I'm going through in my life. And they seem dark right now and they seem like they may never end, but I know that they will. And I know that you're in charge and in control. And I'm grateful for the calluses that are building up here and for the strength that I'm getting out of this and for the lessons that I'm learning and will become a better person because of it. And so thank you for that, for what I'm going through here. And it may seem impossible right now, but the outcome will be positive and the outcome will end up being, as I look back on my life, will be positive, right? Will be something that I can actually truly be grateful for. And so you have to be grateful at that time. You have to say, look, I mean, this is how it is. Things happen. They always will. You're never going to, it's never perfect. And so you're always going to have challenges. And we always have to hit them with a positive attitude, an attitude that says, look, this is happening. And it sucks right now. We're in the trenches, but we got to fight to get out of this because it's going to create greatness for us. The next thing I think is so valuable is confidence. But with confidence comes humility. So confidence by itself can create arrogance, and arrogance is a destroyer, or cockiness, right? And you see pro sports athletes, they self-destruct. They are amazing, so good at what they do, right? The think of the wide receivers are like, football wide receivers. I feel like those are the some of the most, diva-ish, cocky, they're so confident, and maybe they're actually quite frankly lacking confidence, but they are so arrogant that they destroy themselves, that they become somebody nobody wants on the team, right? Somebody that just can't continue their success. Don't be don't be confident and arrogant. Be confident and be humble. I think that's really important. So look, know and understand that you're good. You know what you're doing, and you've got this, and you can push through, and you can create great results, right? But also know that there's a lot of people that are around you that have good answers, that can support you, that can help you get to where you want to be. And not that it's not always the person that you think it is. So sometimes we think, well, the people that are going to help me get where I want to be, that have the answers, that are going to be my mentors, are the ones that have had great success. And that's true. Those are amazing people to surround yourself with. Certainly do that. The more you can do that, the better. By the way, those are the positive people too. Those are the people with the positive mindsets that you can surround yourself with. That helps create that positive mindset and just help you continue to condition that. Then they have the confidence, and as long as they have the humility, those are great people to be around. So certainly do that. But the humility that I want you to have is also take advice and think about the things that people tell you or talk to you about or provide with for you that you wouldn't expect, right? The younger person that has maybe an idea, and you listen to it. And a lot of them, you have to kind of say, well, that's not going to quite work, but you might be able to say, well, but yeah, that idea is actually good. If I'm humble enough to listen, I'm going to find amazing answers in places that I never would have expected. And so I think that's so important. Confidence is huge, right? We want to be confident in what we're doing. We want to be confident in how we're talking. We want to be confident in how we approach people, right? Again, if you're lacking in confidence, it's a mindset thing. You've got to be intentional about it. You've got to continue to push and get more confident, get outside of your comfort zone. Things that you can do to help your confidence is just doing it, right? Just doing the thing will help your confidence. Learning about it, reading about it, talking about it, listening to it, being around people that are doing what you're doing helps you gain that confidence. But again, just fill it with humility, because without humility, it's confidence with arrogance, and arrogance is just a destroyer. It certainly is. Um, another thing, this kind of goes along with the humility part, is I think you need to have a genuine curiosity. And so with humility comes genuine curiosity. You have to be curious about, about everything, right? Be curious and be always looking for, not looking for the next greatest thing, but be looking for things in the world. Be curious about what other people are doing. Ask good questions. Really on trying to learn as we progress, and education and learning is just so valuable for creating success. We're always doing that. That creates confidence, that can hopefully create humility and curiosity, of course. um, the last thing, and there's so many more. Actually, I'll maybe say a couple more, but the next thing is persistence, just not giving up. Look, there's so many times, and I talked about this just the other days. There's so many times that you want to give up, but the difference between the people that are successful and the people that are not is the people that are not just give up so quickly, right? The first thing that happens or second thing that happens, they just give up. They say, enough. You have to continue to fight. There's a time where you have to, I'm not saying stubbornly fight, put your head down and keep on banging into the same wall. No, if you bang into the wall so many times, look around and find the door, right? Or find the tool that you can cut a hole in the wall so that you can get through it, right? It's not necessarily about doing the exact same thing over and over and over until your brain is dead. It's about continue to push to get through that wall. So you're running it 5 times, you go, shame on me. I'm gonna I'm gonna find this saw here. I'm gonna cut through, or I'm gonna find the right person that can help me find and navigate to the way out of this room. They know how to get out. I'm going to find the flashlight to help me through the darkness, right? And so persistence, not giving up, continue to push on when times are tough, continue to push hard when times are good. Good times can sometimes create bad times, can create problems. It's because we get lazy, because we're not persistent, because we're not doing the things that we were doing when times weren't quite so good. And I catch myself doing that too. Like, man, my business is going so well, everything's going great. But then I stopped doing the things that got me there. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? But we do that. And so we're not being persistent. We're giving up on the things that got us to where we are. So always be persistent, always push on. And the this is probably the last thing I'll say. There's many more little things, right, in life, but being successful means taking risks and not being afraid to fail, and figuring out, again, this is about persistence, figuring out how do I get back up and how do I push on? How do I continue to move forward? But it's about taking risks. It's about making the mistakes, and it's about going, okay, what did I learn from that? How can I continue to improve? How can I move on? If you're not going to make mistakes, if you're not going to take risks, you're not going to grow. You're not going to challenge yourself, and then you're not going to be successful. So those are big things. Mindset of positivity, confidence with a great amount of humility, uh, and curiosity, persistence, not giving up and taking risks. Those are huge things. There's many more, but I think that encompasses a lot on your road to success. I wish you the greatest amount of success. I wish that you can come, uh, show up every day and just be grateful for what's been in your life and even the challenges, and just crush it. So you make every day Saturday a fantastic rest of the day. Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. Say, I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. But your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really
need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.